Live. Hi everyone and welcome to That Fertility Show. I'm Chris and Mike and Jen aren't here. So I am currently not by myself because I have two people with me. I have Gemma and I have Jen. Gem.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, we are good. We are good. So I'm not here with as I mentioned, I'm not here with Jen and Mike, but I have two amazing new people that I'm here with. So I think first of all, let's learn a bit about you two. Yeah?
Sounds good.
So, Jem, tell me a bit about you.
A little bit about me. Wow. What do you want to know? Obviously, we're here for the same reasons, similar reasons. So I am Jem. I am 39. We are currently going through the process of adoption. It's been a long old journey getting here, but it's a good journey. Learn lots about life along the way. So unfortunately I have endometriosis, which is horrific, and polycystic ovarian syndrome. So we made the very bold decision not to go ahead with any fertility treatment, which is huge actually, and it was such a big decision, a very bold one, and we have chosen to go down the route of adoption instead. We wanted to use all of our funds that we have available to us to continue renovating our house and getting it baby ready, and because we know that we are capable of opening up our hearts and our lives to any child, the genetics weren't important for us anymore. So here we are, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. For anyone that just didn't catch the beginning of this, I just want to introduce you again to Jem and Gemma. So there was a bit of a technical issue at the beginning because we all been having, I've been working out the technical stuff. Because as you just mentioned there, you've kind of gotten I don't want to use the word amazing, because maybe amazing slightly the wrong word, but it's a very unique journey, isn't it?
The adoption journey,
yeah,
it's so unique, and I appreciate, it's not for everybody. In fact, I know in our world, in our fertility world, it's quite an upsetting word for a lot of people, and a lot of people may unfortunately see it as last chance saloon, which is brutal for us and for me in particular. It was more than that. It's always kind of been in the back of my mind, what if, as you kind of gradually getting older, and I didn't meet my lovely partner until we were both late 30s, and we were kind of rushed through all of that, alongside learning about each other. We knew we both wanted to be parents, and so this is the route that we're on. Yeah, it was a big decision, compromising your health, and that huge financial burden. I mean, we weren't lucky enough to be offered any funded treatment, so that meant everything, if we moved ahead with it, we would have to fund ourselves. So, like I say, we decided to use our funds and our time and our energy and everything else to focus on adopting a child. So yeah, it is a very unique situation. I think we all find ourselves in an incredibly unique situation, and not one of them easy, not at all.
Yeah. Well, just so everyone can understand why we got different backgrounds as well, is because we are in two different locations as well. So we're in the studio, and today we figured we'd go national, and to Nottingham. So Jem is actually down in Nottingham, which is a few hours away from us. Yeah. So she's down there, but yeah. So we're up here. So Gemma.
Yes.
Gemma, tell us a bit about your story.
So I'm part of the same-sex couple, and 2 years ago we started our reciprocal IVF journey. Reciprocal IVF is where one of the partners goes through the normal stimulating of your ovaries to create the eggs. They're fertilised with donor sperm, and then they're put back into the other partner. So if it all works, it's it's quite a nice way to share that journey, to both feel a part of your child's life. For us, we've had 2 step cycles that haven't worked, and we're now working our way through some frozen embryos. We were lucky to get some from the second round. So that's sort of where we are.
How are you feeling at the moment? Well, where are you in your journey mentally? Because I know a lot of what we're going to talk about today was the mental side of things.
It's a bit of a strange one for us. We were saying this earlier. I suppose for us, when we first started our journey, it was a positive one. We walked into a fertility clinic and, we were happy to be there, which I know a lot of people aren't. When they get there, it's after years of trying and, that for them that's the end, and for us it was the beginning. And we naively thought, as people would, we've got 4 ovaries, 2 wombs, this is going to be easy, let's do it. Expensive but easy, and actually it hasn't been. It was a short, sharp shock the first time when it didn't work, and I think now we're I'm guessing where a lot of you guys are in the will it ever work, what are we doing, how much more money can we throw at this, at what point do you say enough and go down the route that Jem's talking about.
Jem, just kind of back to you, when you decided that you wanted to go down the adoption route, how was that switch in mindset?
It was really tricky because I felt like in such quick succession had to get over something else. So I was very, very ill with the endometriosis, had an operation. It was all very, it was very much an emergency. We were very or another. I'm very lucky that my partner was incredibly supportive of how that was going to come around. So the switch between IVF and adoption, it's not like adoption was on the back burner. It was always there, ticking away as an option, as a potential. So, that mindset switch, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Because we had to deal with so much so quickly. I guess it was just kind of a case of, right, next hurdle. And I came to terms with it really quickly. I felt like I had to, because I did feel like I was spiralling into a bit of a pit of despair over how much more bad news can we take.
Yep.
Long-winded, but there you go.
No, it's good to hear that side of perspective, because sometimes we don't think, what if it doesn't happen? What happens if we decide not to continue down the IVF route? What is that mentality? What is that shift in our mindset?
I imagine it's something you
Sorry, Jem.
No, sorry. I imagine that you've got to be 100% there, and you've got to have sort of, before you start that, you've really got to shut the door on IVF and actually physically creating your own children.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different type of...
What was your coping strategies when going through this? What did you use, you know, personally to deal with it?
To deal with everything, talking to friends, being as open and honest about everything. That saying of, you know, it takes a village to raise a baby, a child, and you've got to make that village. I mean, at the very beginning of our journey, I'd moved from the city I'd grown up in, you know, not having my friends nearby. That was really tricky. So I set about making friends. I integrated into the fertility community as quickly and as fiercely as I could to find out as much knowledge. And it was through, you know, making those friendships, talking to people, being honest about things, being kinder to myself, that helped me, you know, mentally cope with that. It was talking about it as much as possible, making it normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Gemma? So I have to remember Jem and Gemma. Do you know?
Yeah,
I can't believe.
I can't believe Jen.
I know. When Mike and Jen said they weren't going to be around today, I was like, okay, well, you know, we need to bring a couple other people into the that fertility show. So they chose two Gemmas just to make my life more confusing. But for everyone watching, by the way, the two Gemmas are going to be around to stay. We trialed them out, and yeah, they're going to be around to stay.
Well, how long we got left? I'll let you make that decision at the
end. We realise streaming and having people in different locations, obviously, it's been it is a bit difficult, you know, technology wise. I can't even say the word, so do bear with us. But Gemma, going through, what's that? At least Jen says, at least you'll never get the name wrong. True. Gemma, your process going through, you know, the mindset behind it and the coping strategies, did you find yourself getting too absorbed into the IVF process?
Yes.
Because I found that with my life, I forgot about life.
Yes.
And I just started getting too absorbed in IVF.
Yes.
I didn't even realise it.
We spent probably the first year when we did IVF sort of putting everything on hold, saying, you know, like family would talk about, oh, are you going on holiday? No, don't book anything. We don't know where we're going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. And we practically, you know, you practically stop living, don't you? Everything's about the diet. Will I be pregnant? Won't I be pregnant? You know, oh, we might have to have a scan then. Oh, we might have a newborn baby by then. We better not plan that in. We better not plan that in. And then suddenly you realise that you've not done anything for a year, 2 years. You know, you've lost yourself. You're not travelling. You're not, you know, doing the things that make you happy. Going to concerts. I know with you, you've said, you know, you enjoy your sport and things like
there's
that.
one thing that happened with me. I actually got absorbed in thinking this was too easy as a partner. I know that sounds weird, but because I didn't understand the process, I didn't understand this. I just thought that, you know, I'm not the one doing the meds. I'm not the one doing the cycle. You know, doing the scans or carrying the baby. So my job is just to support. That's it. And I kind of went into the mindset. So I got kind of caught up with I kind of, I don't know, slowly or something. My life became up,
doesn't it? Yeah.
My life became about IVF. And then I wasn't doing sport. I wasn't going running. I put weight on.
Yeah.
I wasn't concentrating as hard at work. And it's my business. If I don't concentrate hard at work, we don't get the money. And so, yes, eventually after a while, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
And I wasn't coping as well as what I thought I would be. I didn't even expect that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it does catch you. I remember just before we started our treatment, the nurse. So again, it was the day we were starting Supercure, and she came over to us and she said, you know, if you're not ready, we can pause this. And I was like, well, what do you mean? We're fine. Let's go. She was like, no, are you mentally ready? And I remember saying, why? There's no problems. We're not, you know, we haven't got any mental issues. We'll be absolutely fine. And I didn't realise until you get stuck into that just how much. Yeah, it messes your head up, doesn't it? If you don't mind me asking, in terms of coping, for me, there is still a supporting role. I realise that
I'm part of the eggs, that got created.
Yes.
And they're there. But for you, there's more involved.
I am the eggs.
Yeah.
For us, yeah.
They're your eggs in
Kerry's
womb, yes.
So, kind of, how does that feel?
How do you mean?
I don't know. I know it's a weird question, but does it feel half and half? That's a weird question, isn't it? But how do you mentally cope with that?
I think it's something that we've always talked about. If we were going to have children, this would be the most perfect way. I mean, it is a bit fairy tale, really, isn't it?
It's bloody lovely, Gemma. It's absolutely gorgeous, is what it is.
So you kind of, that for us was always the idea and the way we wanted to do it, and the idea of using my eggs and Kerry's womb was pretty much, we wouldn't want to do it the other way around. I know there's some couples that one wants to carry their own and the other wants to carry their own. We never wanted to do that. We've always said, however we have children, it always wants to be the same way.
Yeah.
I would hate to be competitive with my own sort of thinking, well, my kid's better at maths than yours. I wouldn't want to do that. So we wanted to do it the same way, and I can't carry a cold, so I could never carry a child. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll go do the egg collection thing. I will pass my genes on, and you can go and do the rest of it.
I think that's a statement of the season, isn't it? I can't carry a cold, so I can't carry eggs. Jem, within terms of the mental side of things and coping, if someone was going down the path now that you've been down, where they've got all the information now and they've got to make that decision what it is that they're going to do, what would you advise? What would you say to them?
What would I advise? I'd say, okay, so we were told something at one of the adoption evenings that we went along to, and it is a little quote, and it is, what is best for the child. And I would say this to everybody, what is best for the child, and that is what how you're going to be feeling health-wise, financially, what your relationship's going to be like. If you feel like all of those areas are going to be compromised with chemical treatments and everything else, then consider adoption. It's so lovely. I mean, the best bit of advice is, you've got to talk. You've got to keep talking. You've got to talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your partner, talk to yourself. Look online, research, talk to other people who have adopted. And that's something we've done. In fact, we've become really good friends with the couple, amazingly, that spoke at the first adoptive evening that we went to. And it's a very lovely situation how we became friends. And it was those two. It was listening to their story, their version of events, their real gritty honesty, because she spoke about being incredibly emotional, about them not getting on. They were really worried that actually you had to be superhuman to become an adoptive parent. Like, you had to sit there. I always think about Bart Simpson on a Sunday. If you've seen him with his bow tie on and his spikes all slicked back, you've got to be on your best behaviour. You don't. You've got to be human. But you've got to think about, can your body cope with this? Can your mind cope with any more? And again, just going back to that, what is best for the child? And I hope that makes a bit of sense, because It
does. I get what you mean, but it's hard. Admittedly, it is hard to think like that, isn't it?
It's really, really hard. I feel like I'm better at dealing with stress and stressful situations because we have so much to deal with. I'm not saying that other people don't, because you do. I follow so many amazing people online in the real life going through their own fertility struggles. I think you are all absolutely amazing. How you get through day to day is beyond me. You are all superheroes. But to deal with each step, so I'm just going to bring it back actually. When we were told the risks, the expenses, everything else that was going to be added on top because of our age and the complications, so many of our friends and family said, why don't you just get a surrogate? Now, to me, that was so toxic. I was so angry by that. I really struggled with that, because for me, I felt like, why would I want somebody else to carry my child for me, and I get to watch them go through all of that loveliness, and at the end of it, they feel like they don't want to hand that child over. You know, there are complications in the UK. And being a mother who so desperately wants a child, how could you take that child from that woman? That would equally be so painful. So adoption was the only option, rhyming for me. In my heart of heart. So for me, that's got another meaning to it. I think I know I've got the strength, I guess, that it takes for this next bit. So you've got to be strong. You've got to find another hidden strength that you didn't think you had to move on.
The one thing that I've learned over this time is to be kind to yourself. I think that's like, if you could sum up a sentence, it's be kind to yourself, because you know it's easy to berate yourself for something that is out of your control.
It's really easy to berate yourself, because do you know what? I felt like that. I felt like, oh, my body's so stupid, I'm old, that's why it's not working. I've got endometriosis everywhere, so that's not working. And I felt really angry with myself that my womb is such a hostile environment. It doesn't want to do what it's meant to bloody do. That I really struggled with.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can imagine. For you, if you could give one advice, someone going through, you know, what you've been through, what would it be for coping?
I would say, do not put your life on hold. As much as you'd be tempted to, you know, go on crazy diets and all the rest of it, and yes, some of it helps, and you know, but you just cannot put your life on hold, because, you know, I was saying earlier, if you've done IVF for 2 years and say you've done 3 cycles, you know, you're talking 2 months average a cycle. That's 6 months of the last 2 years that you've spent actually doing IVF, and what have you done for the other 18 months? And that's the time that counts, when you can be yourself, you can do your sport, you can travel, you can socialise, whatever it is that makes you who you are, you have to do it, and you have to push yourself to do it. And really, sometimes you don't want to, but you've just got to go and do it, because
I go to a lot of business events, business conferences, and you know, these speakers stand up on stage and tell you all these things about how you should be running business, and you keep thinking, it's easy for you to say, try doing it. And it's the same with IVF. I realise, and infertility, and I realise we're sat here now saying about the advice that we would give people just starting out, and be kind to yourself, and you know, don't forget to live your life. It is difficult. It is, and people will get consumed, and you know, an IVF and infertility will take over their lives. You know, I know how
completely
easy it is for us to say this, but you know, I think the one piece of advice is try and maintain your life.
Yes,
the life that you had.
Completely.
You know, try and make sure that you maintain some aspect of that.
I mean, ultimately, the whole aim of this, you know, whether you're adopting, whether you're going through IVF, is to become a parent. And if you stay true to yourself and your own hobbies, you will become a better parent. Yeah. You will be a better parent to your child. In 18 years' time, your child's going to grow up and leave home, and you're going to be left with yourself.
I think that's one thing I thought. Once I started realising I was getting sucked into the infertility world, you know, I realised that, you know, just thinking I could be a partner wasn't quite right. I was getting sucked into it. There was that mindset that said, just concentrate on getting a child, and don't worry, once you've got that child, you can always go back. Yeah. You can always be the person you were.
You get to a point where you think, I just want to win at IVF.
Yeah.
Which is so wrong. Yeah. On so many levels.
And how was that with you, Jem? Because obviously you went down a different route, you know, with all the information, but was there a point where you thought you just had to win at this?
Yeah, of course. You know, we've all got the same aim. We've all got the same goal. We all want to be parents. But for me, again, it is going back to that saying of what is best for child. And it's what kind of a parent does that child need when they arrive into the world? And I guess you can look at it from so many different angles. And that is the thing for me. It's being healthy. It's being mentally healthy. It's being prepared. It's having your life ready. not forgetting who you are, but really focusing on that. What is going to be best for them when they get here? Because if they are coming into the world to, you know, frazzled, fragile parents, that worries me, you know.
One thing that we you know, a few people have commented about making sure that you maintain that relationship with your partner.
My wife's commented that. Yeah.
Didn't want to point it out, but yes. But it's true. We got sucked into. I keep using the word sucked in. I'm not sure that's right, but you know, after a while we kept saying, should we go out for dinner? No, we can't. We need the money for IVF.
Yeah.
So we can't go out for dinner. We can't get a Domino's pizza even. You know,
that's an injection.
Yeah. At one point we were buying 99p pizzas from Tesco's because they're like, we need the money. We'll go home, we'll cook, make sure the oven's turned off within seconds.
We're currently not eating meat Monday to Friday.
Okay.
It's cheaper apparently.
But it is, and I realise you need to save for whatever process you go down.
You do.
But you can't lose that aspect of your life. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It is hilarious, really. I mean, you kind of have to laugh about some of it at some point, and I can now. I think, you know, when we were at the beginning of preparing me preparing my body for IVF and all that potential, so no chemicals. I still make my own cleaning products, love them. Flash, get it out of the house. You know, drinking out of metal water bottles. Oh my goodness. All of the things that you're doing in preparation, it's bonkers, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it even got to the stage where I was kind of, you know, not wanting to hold on to train tickets because I've been told about the levels of PDA that were in these train tickets, thinking, oh my God, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere, you know. It's madness. It's madness.
Don't you think if the world was left to people going through infertility, we'd clear up global warming and environmental overnight issues? We really would.
You know how many functions a lemon's got? I mean, the antibacterial properties. Seriously?
Yeah.
We would.
Nobody would be going on holiday or anything because no one could afford it.
Yeah. Environmental issues would be sorted.
We'd all be in Norfolk.
Look, all three of us are still going down our journey. Our journey's not complete yet. So even though we're talking about how we coped and how we are coping, we are going to fall into the mistakes again. You know, there's going to be times in which we all slip in, and we need to be reminded. And I think one thing that is good for that is social media. I know I use a lot of social media to be accountable, and to just share stuff that I'm going through.
Yeah.
And it really helps me cope going through that. You know, we're all we've all used social media for that. And the other thing that I use social media for, and these, is humour.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
just a small thing sometimes to bring ourselves out of that time when we just get sucked in and we just start feeling the pressures of the infertility. You know, just humour, just having a bit of humour.
I'm terrible for making really badly timed jokes at the clinic.
Oh,
things
brilliant.
like that. It's just so bad. And Kerry just shakes her head at me like this. She's like, just stop it. You're just embarrassing me now. But it's just. You just do it, don't you?
You do. I got my sperm count back, and it was really low. Well, part of it was really low, the morphology, and then I had to work hard to higher it. And when I got my new results, I high-fived my wife, and the consultant went, "Don't think anyone's ever high-fived in the surgery before."
I remember telling the last sonographer who produced Wanda. I told her that, in our circle, we call it Wanda, and she started laughing. Said, I can't call it Wanda because that's my boss's name. And I said, we do call it Dildo Cam as well. And she just looked at me like I'd overstepped the mark at this point. Okay. But you've got to make these jokes, you do, because it's just so weird, and it's so awkward, and it's so inappropriate, and it's absolutely bonkers. It really is. It's so intense.
Yeah.
You can become so serious. I found that I became this real serious. I even started to dress serious. I've always had really weird, wild, wacky clothes. And I feel like I've started to sort of slip into that sort of mum uniform, in preparation. But, yeah, I don't like being serious. It just doesn't suit me. So, you need that humour.
It just comes back to maintaining yourself in, while you're going through this process.
Yeah.
You know, finding a way to cope with everything that's going to be thrown at you. And I think the quicker you can find that coping strategy that works for you, the quicker you can.
Yeah, it's got to be a personal thing. You've got to look after yourself and your partner. Talk to your partner, but really, you know, you've really got to. It's got to come from you, and then you will be a better partner, and hopefully a better parent from that.
Yeah. Right, we are coming to the end. We have run out of time. So first of all, I want to thank the two Gemmas for being here and being live with me.
Not swearing.
I'm not swearing, yeah.
The only Gemma that's got a potty mouth.
I work in a builder's yard. I mean, occupational hazard.
I also just want to say na to Jen, who said I was the unfunny one last time. I like to think I've probably brought a bit of personality into this and a bit of humour. But thank you so much. And Jen and Mike will be back with us. Don't worry, they're coming back. And the five of us are going to get together. And we are going to have a group. I don't know where my mind was going with that, actually. I started saying group, and before I know it, my mind was going into dark areas.
You need to wrap this up.
Group, we really need to wrap this up, you know. So thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to us talk about our life and dealing with the coping strategies that we put in place. You can get us on Instagram, so if you want to get us on Instagram, it's That Fertility Show, and we all have our own individual handles. Mine is It Takes 3. So I don't know if you want to share yours.
Yeah, mine is 30-something lesbian.
30-something. Is it 30-something lesbian?
I think so. Yeah.
We'll put it in the comments.
It's spelt the word. 30
okay.
Spelt the word.
30-something. And Jem, yours is.
And mine is Candy Coiffer Chihuahua Couture. I mean.
we will write that
need to write
in
that
that down.
Comments. Yeah.
Okay, we'll
definitely.
write that down. Yeah. But for everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. So tune back in 2 weeks where we are going to be continuing on this. Kerry says yes, yours is 30-something.
Excellent.
Okay.
Bravo.
Brilliant. So last wave, everyone. So Jem, last wave. Bye. Bye from us. Thank you so much, and have a great week, everyone.